Did Rada just publicly turn against Nadia after an alleged leaked tape involving Michael set social media on fire? Fans are stunned, and some are calling this the most explosive turn in the entire controversy so far. What started as online whispers has now escalated into something far more serious. According to fans, a leaked Michael tape didn't just expose private moments, it allegedly triggered a reaction so intense that Rada's public response is now being dissected frame by frame. Viewers believe her disappointment wasn't random. They claim it was targeted. And in their eyes, all signs point toward Nadia. Social media users asking one unsettling question: why now? Rada's reaction, described by fans as emotional, sharp, and impossible to ignore, has reignited old suspicions and reopened wounds many thought were already buried. While no names were directly mentioned, viewers insist the message was clear enough to spark heated debate across platforms. Some believe Rada finally reached her breaking point. Others argue emotions may have blurred judgment, turning speculation into accusation. But one thing is undeniable: this alleged leaked tape has changed the tone of everything. And if fans are right, this isn't just drama. It's the beginning of a fallout that could permanently reshape relationships behind closed doors. After the alleged leaked tape connected to Michael began circulating in fan discussions, the first thing many viewers claim they noticed wasn't the tape itself, it was Rada's reaction. According to online chatter, her energy appeared to shift almost immediately. Where she once seemed composed and restrained, fans now describe her behavior as tense, guarded, and emotionally charged. Viewers believe this sudden change wasn't random, but a response to information that shook her trust at a deeper level. Social media users began dissecting every public move Rada made. From subtle changes in her tone to carefully worded posts and moments of silence, fans argue that her disappointment was impossible to miss. What unsettled viewers most was that Rada never directly addressed the alleged tape, yet her reactions felt intentional, as though she was speaking without actually saying the words. This is where speculation intensified, and Nadia's name started appearing more frequently in fan conversations. According to viewers, the question wasn't just about the leaked tape anymore. It became about direction. Who was Rada reacting to? Who, in her eyes, may have crossed a line? Fans claim that Rada's emotional response appeared focused, almost targeted, leading many to believe there was more behind the scenes that the public hadn't been told. While no accusations were made outright, supporters argue that the subtext felt clear enough to draw conclusions. At the same time, others pushed back strongly. Nadia supporters insist that no confirmed evidence has ever linked her to the alleged leak. They argue that gossip culture thrives on filling gaps with assumptions, especially when emotions are involved. In their view, Rada's reaction, however emotional, does not automatically equal proof. But Rada's supporters counter this by saying emotional reactions often come from lived experiences the audience never sees. As debate intensified, fans began revisiting older clips, photos, and interactions involving Michael and Nadia. Moments that once appeared normal were suddenly being reinterpreted under a new lens. According to online speculation, certain exchanges now seemed awkward, certain absences more noticeable, and certain silences more telling. Viewers argue that the leaked tape controversy didn't create suspicion, it unlocked it. Throughout all of this, Rada's behavior remained at the center of attention. Fans claim that when she finally expressed her disappointment publicly, without naming anyone, it felt deliberate. Social media users interpreted her words as an indirect message, one meant for a specific individual who would understand exactly what was being referenced. To many viewers, this wasn't vague emotion. It was controlled anger wrapped in restraint. Some fans believe Rada intentionally chose ambiguity. By not naming names, she allowed the public to connect the dots on their own, dots they were already questioning. This approach, according to viewers, only intensified the controversy. Comment sections filled with theories, timelines, and competing narratives, with Nadia's name repeatedly surfacing as a possible focal point. Defenders of Nadia warn that this type of speculation can quickly spiral into a public trial without evidence. They emphasize that until the source of the alleged tape is confirmed, assigning blame remains dangerous. But Rada supporters argue the opposite, that emotional responses often reveal truths that facts alone cannot. To them, Rada's disappointment speaks louder than any denial. Michael's silence has only complicated the situation further. Fans point out that while the narrative around him continues to grow, he has not directly addressed the alleged tape or the fallout surrounding it. Viewers are questioning whether this silence is strategic, protective, or indicative of something deeper. Many argue that if the situation were purely rumor, a clear statement could have shut it down by now. As days passed, fan communities became increasingly divided. One side believes Rada is reacting from a place of genuine hurt, suggesting that her instincts are rooted in knowledge the public lacks. The other side insists that Nadia is being unfairly pulled into a scandal built on speculation rather than proof. Both perspectives are emotionally charged, and neither appears willing to back down. What everyone seems to agree on, however, is that the leaked tape, real or alleged, has changed the dynamic entirely. Trust has been questioned, loyalties examined, and relationships re-evaluated by the public in real time. Fans suspect that what's visible online is only a fraction of what's unfolding privately. According to ongoing speculation, unresolved conversations, unspoken explanations, and concealed decisions may still be unfolding behind closed doors. Viewers believe the public narrative has only scratched the surface, and if what fans are suspecting turns out to be true, this controversy is far from reaching its peak. And if online chatter is any indication, the details fans believe surface next could push this story into an entirely new phase, one that raises even more doubts, deepens fractures, and forces all sides to confront what happens when silence, emotion, and speculation collide. Part 2, fans claim, is where everything becomes even harder to ignore. As the controversy continued to unfold, fans claim the narrative began shifting in a way no one fully anticipated. What initially felt like scattered speculation slowly started taking shape, driven less by rumors and more by patterns viewers believed they were noticing in real time. According to online chatter, the focus subtly moved from the leaked tape itself to what happened immediately afterward, specifically, how the people closest to Michael responded behind the scenes. Viewers began pointing out that Nadia's public presence appeared to change around the same time Rada's disappointment became visible. Fans claim Nadia grew quieter, less responsive online, and noticeably absent from spaces where she had once been active. While some argue this withdrawal could simply be a normal response to unwanted attention, others interpret it as a sign that pressure was building privately. Social media users began asking whether this silence was self-protection or something more calculated. At the same time, fan discussions suggested that communication between Rada and Michael appeared strained. Viewers noted fewer shared moments, less warmth, and an emotional distance that felt deliberate rather than coincidental. According to speculation, this shift fueled belief that difficult conversations were happening away from the public eye. Conversations sparked not just by the alleged tape, but by unanswered questions lingering around it. What intensified matters further was the resurfacing of older interviews and statements. Fans revisited moments where Michael had spoken about honesty, loyalty, and trust, now comparing those words to his current silence. Some viewers argue the contrast feels unsettling, claiming his absence from the conversation is allowing speculation to grow unchecked. Others believe he may be deliberately staying quiet to avoid worsening an already delicate situation. As theories multiplied, fans began constructing timelines. According to online posts, viewers tried to pinpoint when the alleged tape might have been recorded, who could have had access, and why it surfaced when it did. The timing alone, fans say, raises uncomfortable questions. Why now? Why during a moment when emotions were already heightened? Many believe the release, if intentional, was designed to cause maximum damage. Rada's behavior during this phase remained under constant scrutiny. Fans claim she appeared increasingly composed on the surface, yet emotionally distant. Viewers describe her expressions as controlled, almost guarded, as though she was choosing her reactions carefully. Some interpret this as strength. Others see it as emotional exhaustion. Either way, fans believe it signals that she may be processing more than she's willing to share publicly. Meanwhile, Nadia's role continued to be debated fiercely. Supporters insist she is being unfairly positioned at the center of a storm she didn't create. They argue that assumptions are being treated as facts and that emotional reactions are being misread as evidence. Yet others believe Nadia's proximity to the situation makes questions unavoidable. To them, clarity, not silence, is what's missing most. Fan communities grew increasingly polarized. Comment sections turned into battlegrounds, with timelines, screenshots, and interpretations shared at a rapid pace. Every pause, every post, every lack of response was analyzed. Viewers argue that this level of scrutiny reflects how deeply invested the audience has become, not just in the drama, but in the emotional implications behind it. As pressure mounted, speculation turned toward consequences. Fans began asking whether relationships could realistically recover from this level of doubt. Trust, once questioned publicly, is difficult to rebuild, especially when explanations remain incomplete. Viewers believe that even if the alleged tape is later explained, the emotional fallout may already be irreversible. Some fans predict a breaking point is approaching. They speculate that either a statement will be released, a confrontation will happen, or new information will surface, something that forces the story out of the grey area and into clarity. Until then, silence continues to act as fuel rather than resolution. What unsettles viewers most, according to online commentary, is the sense that the public narrative is lagging behind the private truth. Fans believe certain individuals know far more than they're saying, and that every restrained reaction is part of a larger decision about timing and control. As this phase of the controversy settled in, one thing became clear to most viewers: this was no longer just about a leaked tape. It had become about trust eroding in real time, about how silence can speak louder than denial, and about the cost of unanswered questions. And if fan speculation is correct, what surfaces next won't just clarify the situation, it may force all sides to confront realities they've been trying to keep hidden. As days passed, fans claim the situation reached a stage where silence no longer felt neutral, it felt intentional. Viewers began sensing that something was being carefully managed behind the scenes, not just avoided. According to online chatter, this was the moment when private decisions may have started outweighing public perception. The lack of clear statements, combined with controlled appearances, led many to believe that damage control had quietly taken over. Social media users noticed that whenever Rada appeared publicly during this time, her demeanor seemed different yet again. Fans describe her as calm but distant, present but emotionally guarded. Viewers speculate that this shift suggested she had reached a point of internal clarity, even if she wasn't ready to share it. Some believe this calm wasn't peace, it was resolve. Others interpret it as someone emotionally shutting down to protect themselves. At the same time, speculation around Michael intensified. Fans argue that his continued silence began to feel louder than any denial could have been. Viewers questioned why he hadn't directly addressed the alleged tape or clarified the growing assumptions. For some, this silence signaled guilt. For others, it suggested fear of making the wrong statement, or fear of confirming something unintentionally. Online discussions took a sharper turn when fans began proposing that multiple people may have known about the alleged tape long before it surfaced. If true, viewers argue, this would change everything. The narrative would no longer revolve around a single leak, but around secrecy and delayed honesty. Fans say this possibility made Rada's reaction feel more understandable, less impulsive, more cumulative. Attention soon shifted to timing once again. According to speculation, the moment the alleged tape surfaced coincided too precisely with other emotional pressures to be dismissed as coincidence. Viewers questioned whether this was an accident or the result of someone losing control of the situation. The idea that truths may have been hidden until they became impossible to contain sparked renewed outrage among fans. Nadia's position in the conversation remained unstable. Supporters continued urging caution, arguing that association does not equal responsibility. Yet even among neutral viewers, questions persisted. Fans weren't demanding accusations, they were demanding transparency. The frustration, according to online commentary, came not from what was known, but from what felt deliberately unclear. What made this phase especially tense was the sense that a confrontation, public or private, had either already happened or was imminent. Fans speculated that difficult conversations were unfolding away from cameras, reshaping relationships in ways the audience would only notice later through subtle changes. The idea that outcomes were being decided without public input left viewers uneasy and restless. Some fans began to suggest that Rada's earlier indirect expressions were her way of reclaiming control in a situation where control had been taken from her. By choosing restraint over chaos, viewers argue, she may have been protecting herself while still signaling that boundaries had been crossed. To many, this interpretation reframed her actions not as emotional outbursts, but as deliberate positioning. As theories continued to circulate, one theme consistently returned: trust. Fans questioned whether trust, once damaged so publicly, could ever be restored quietly. Even if statements were released or explanations offered, viewers believed the emotional memory of this period would linger. The public had already witnessed uncertainty unfold, and that cannot simply be erased. Toward the end of this phase, online chatter suggested a growing expectation that the story was approaching a turning point. Fans sensed that the tension could not remain suspended forever. Whether through confirmation, clarification, or confrontation, something would eventually break the silence. And as the waiting continued, viewers became increasingly aware of one unsettling possibility: that the truth, when it finally surfaced, might not bring closure. It might instead reveal a reality more complex and more painful than speculation ever imagined. Now this is where you come in, because this story no longer belongs to speculation alone. It belongs to everyone watching it unfold in real time. After everything fans believe has happened, the alleged leaked tape, the shift in Rada's behavior, Michael's silence, and Nadia's uncertain position, the biggest questions are still unanswered. And the truth is, there's no single way to see this situation. Some viewers believe Rada had every right to react the way she did. They argue that emotional responses often come from knowledge the public doesn't have, and that silence from those involved only strengthens her position. To them, trust once shaken can't simply be repaired with delayed explanations. Others feel the backlash has gone too far, insisting that speculation without confirmation can destroy reputations and deepen wounds that may not be deserved. So now we want to hear from you. Do you think Rada's reaction was justified, or do you believe emotions blurred the line between hurt and accusation? Was Michael's silence a form of protection, or avoidance? And where do you stand on Nadia's role in all of this, unfairly targeted, or unreasonably quiet? Drop your honest thoughts in the comments below. This channel is a space for discussion, not judgment, and your perspective helps shape the conversation. If you noticed details others may have missed, share them. If you disagree with popular opinions, say why. Every voice adds another layer to this story. If this breakdown made you stop and think, hit the like button so more viewers can join the discussion. Subscribe to the channel for ongoing updates, fan reactions, and deeper analysis as this situation continues to evolve. Turn on notifications so you don't miss what comes next, because if the patterns fans are noticing mean anything, this story is far from over.